Tom Marchese won the 2010 Card Player Player of the Year race, making 11 final tables that year and earning 2 titles. Known as King of Cards online, Marchese has lifetime tournament earnings of nearly $2.8 million and also plays in high-stakes cash games. For this edition of Poker Strategy, Card Player TV caught up with Marchese to learn more about playing one of the most awkward stack sizes in tournament poker, the 30 to 40 big blind stack.
Well, the 30 to 40 big blind stacks are kind of like harder to teach as in being like standard, because in so many situations you're never really getting flat called in spots. So really your hand kind of matters. It's like, can I call a shove with this hand, or can I 4-bet shove with this hand if I get 3-bet? And outside of that, it doesn't matter quite as much. So it's hard to really like give like a basic strategy for what you're doing, but pretty much the general goal is you're trying to manipulate your stack where you can kind of pick on the weak players at the table and target the blinds when either weak players are in the blinds or in late position. And then when you have more aggressive players in position on you, you have to be more prepared to open hands like ace-x suited or pocket pairs, things like that, where you can shove them over a 3-bet and kind of have more equity versus their calling range when they do call.
Sometimes in tournaments, correctly identifying and taking advantage of certain situations or spots can be just as important as the hands you are dealt. We asked Marchese what the best spots are to look for with 30 to 40 big blinds.
Pretty much you're looking for spots where you expect your opponent to be opening wide ranges, yet what you perceive like the correct stack off range on your part to be is still relatively tight. Because if that's the case, then it means that your opponent isn't really 4-bet bluffing you enough, so you can take advantage in those situations and just like 3-bet bluff a lot, knowing that your opponent can't really 4-bet fold, so they're more stuck 4-betting all in. So if you could kind of find players who aren't willing to 4-bet all in without a strong hand, but they're still opening wide ranges, you're really able to like take advantage of that.
This medium stack size often arises around one of the more crucial junctions in a tournament, the money bubble. We asked Marchese how the bubble might affect your play with this stack size.
When you're on the bubble, you definitely have to take ICM into account, because you could be in a spot where you're in a plus chip EV spot, but that's not necessarily correct to gamble, because the times you win, you're not gaining enough equity in the chips you gain to make up for the times you lose, and not only do you lose the chips, but you also don't cash, so you lose out on that. So I mean, generally with ICM, it allows the big stacks to kind of take advantage, because pretty much if the small stacks are playing correct, they have to allow themselves to get picked on, because in a lot of spots you just shouldn't be taking like a 55-45 or like a 58-42 edge, and really to be correctly stacking off you need to have something more like 65-35.
Thanks again to Tom Marchese for sharing his insight on playing a medium stack, and thank you for tuning into this edition of Poker Strategy right here on Card Player TV.